will be coming from that are coming from the partner institutions included in the project will complement somehow the syllabus content in all of the 3 universities. This is somehow the main aim. The syllabus will also be complemented by lectures from the universities themselves or from the schools of architecture themselves, working on different courses, of course, within the curricula of the school. So the main somehow goals and aims of this lectures that will occur in different successions during the semester will be, of course, to complement somehow your academic environment for each school individually with expertise from academy and praxis and their systems somehow. And also to enrich this interdisciplinarity in the syllabus content. This interdisciplinarity for us is a crucial aspect of this collaboration. I just want to mention the participants that will be sort of conducting the lectures in the coming months. This is the Institute for Research in Environment, Civic Engineering and Energy, IEGE from Skopje, which strategy is more or less based on having an orientation towards sustainable development in an economy based on knowledge. Then we have the Czech Environmental Partnership Foundation, Nadace from Partnerství from Brno, that are focused on the issues of environmental protection, sustainable transport, tree and water protection, and quality of public space. I would like to also to welcome Monika Hlavkova for joining us to this event. She's part of the Czech Environmental Partnership Foundation. And of course, the School of Architecture and Design at the UACS from Skopje. That is me and Pavel currently, and of course, Professor Bakalchev, who is also part of this event today, which has somehow a role in transmitting the field of observations, as Blagoje mentioned at the beginning. And of course, giving sort of showcasing the infrastructure of the project and how we will all be networked together during the next months. So without further ado, I would like to just to again repeat what Blagoje said. The first part of the lecture will be a brief introduction of the framework of the project, followed by an introduction of as I said, the infrastructure of the project, the Google Drive, the website, and so on. And in the second part, we will try to give an overview of the sort of the field observations that we had in the previous intellectual outlets. So I would just give the floor to Pavel to sort of give a brief introduction to the project in general.
Okay, thank you. Hello to everyone from on my behalf also. To give me the opportunity as a co-host in order to share my screen. Yes, but firstly, I would like to just Blagoje?
Pavel, I should have a request for, or
just, yeah, you should just go on my name and
okay.
More options. Make host is one of the.
Is it okay now?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Is it okay?
Yes, we can see the whole screen. So
Yeah. You can see the starting the title of the presentation, right? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, first of all, I would like to express my personal satisfaction, and I believe it's also collective satisfaction that we reached to such a moment to be able to talk about the progress of this idea that started in around 2 years ago. It's an open initiative for this international academic collaboration. The satisfaction is present because together we somehow managed to build this initiative into an international discussion at first, and through our collective work to get approval of our project application and formalize it in a 2-year project entitled Enable, as Enable, which is actually an acronym that derives from the descriptive name of the project, which is embedding collaborative platform for upskilling and networking towards sustainable cities. Starting maybe this presentation from the informal working title called Network Environments, which we somehow developed in a time of disconnected capacities of individual or collective behaviors. We believe that we can achieve the main goal of the project through the heterogeneity of the academic approach in order to connect the existing capacities of the city towards achieving its sustainability. Each city has its own capacities, but in a global tendency we are living in, the lack of networking and the systematization of is very evident. Although the city capacities are dominant topic in each city and are daily visible as a consequence of individual or collective behaviors. We decided to confront this urban phenomena productively with the freedom of the academic approach, and to this the project to free the project from the rigidity and the administrative bureaucracy. We consider this as a strong point of the project because in this way it will result in a strategy that is not only a technocratic act. The project starts from the ideas, it is already said, an idea of creating a network academic environment with an intention to challenge the existing models of higher education through the interdisciplinary and transnational collaboration. If we somehow go through the main activities of the project has a time frame of 2 years. So somehow we are now on the second part. We are starting the second year. So the main project activities, if we go through them, is at first period of 1 year of research and development of the syllabus, in which we are having, we developed the learning and teaching methodology. Then is the course implementation, the syllabus for the course studio, which are starting general now, is the fall semester 2020 on each of the universities. And after this course implementation follows the synthesis of the course production in the form of a concept for sustainable cities using this multidisciplinary approach. As a forerunner, this international consortium conducted a variety of research activities and analyzed good practices with recommendations for this curriculum development in order to develop the best possible methodology implemented in this international network syllabus. So in this first year of working together, we somehow go through development and completed the various of intellectual outputs. We can go shortly through them. So for example, first intellectual output was dedicated to creating the database for on completing, compiling the archive of the study case we are all having, and then trying to transform this archive into an operative knowledge. Then as a second part, as a second intellectual output, it was dedicated, completed a survey and analysis of the needs and challenges of stakeholders in the sustainable cities. Also, it was made an analysis of good practices of syllabuses, international syllabuses examples with the benchmarking reports and recommendations for our syllabus development. Then after having all this information, we developed our methodology for this network syllabus for these course studios. We are still continuing with the development of teaching and learning materials, and of course, the most important part is the communication and collaboration between this international group are the collaborative platforms for networking towards our main goal. We are through this analysis, the tools for the joint semester joint curriculum have been identified, and the tools we are using highlight and somehow emphasize the unique moment of overlapping between the expertise that and different scales of observation that is somehow specific for these three universities that are part of this project. And that's how we develop the concept. We will try to develop the concept for sustainable cities using this multidisciplinary approach, and this is a part of the second point of the project activities is the course implementation, which is this syllabus in a form of a network international syllabus as a collaboration between three European universities and two scientific research institutes that will adapt their existing curricula in the needs of this project. At the beginning of the project, the city of Prilep has been selected as a case study and was a common point for all the curricula. But since the situation with COVID made us to adapt ourselves, the city of Prilep will be a case study only for two universities, and the University from Vienna will work on an alternative sites in their course studio. Of course, when we will complete these course studios, we are having a period also of re-evaluation in a form of an international workshop where all the parties involved in the project will be present. We strongly hope that the part of the students could be present wherever we are in that moment. This synthesis of the course production will give us concept for sustainable cities, which this concept will offer strategies, direction that will be used as a basic for further development of the topics of sustainable cities. But in this case, they will specifically result in a multi-dimensional, multi-scale strategies for the urban development of the city of Prilep. Of course, as a final point of this two-year work, we plan to present our findings, to present our concepts in a form of a project proposals for the city of Prilep at the international conference and international exhibition, which we are planning to be held in Prilep in August next year. After which all these conclusions will be articulated in some form of a strategic plan for the city in a form of a publication. We already started, the institutions present are somehow already presented, but just shortly, a part of as a higher educational institutions, part of this project is the School of Architecture and Design and University American College in Skopje. Education, which main activities are somehow focused in the reaction in architecture, but also trying constantly to provide independent analysis and cooperation with external entities. Then the research unit of local planning and technical University of Vienna are focused mainly on municipalities and covers some fields of action in the development of local development planning, municipality planning, urban planning, etc. The Department of Architecture and Territory and Mediterranean University of Reggio Calabria has the main goal of territorial development and somehow connecting the resources with the larger territorial scale. The private scientific institutes are Institute for Research in Environment, Civil Engineering and Energy, IEG from Skopje, which driving strategy is the sustainable development and trying to provide innovative educational and consultancy solutions. And also Nadacha Partnership from Brno, Czech Environmental Partnership Foundation, which they have a big spectrum of activities and focus on the issues of environmental protection, climate change adaptation, protection and quality of public space, and etc. At the three universities, there will be conducted some specific, different, diverse, but somehow complementary topics of the core studio. They will developed in this previous year. So in the sense of each expertise, each of the studio is focusing on specific scale, but also on specific topic. So, for example, the School of Architecture and Design from Skopje will work on the topic of living and working towers, houses, and gardens in Prilep, which is somehow on the scale of housing, and in this sense, we will we will try to reconstruct the activity of living and working together by using these three crucial elements we recognized in the previous work in the city of Prilep. I'm not sure if this is the last official topic of the course of the TU Wien, but while we were defining it, it was the care of a productive volume, but maybe it's a kind of a change, but the meeting now has unlimited minutes. So it's a message we get from the Zoom platform. Okay. So this topic and this course is kind of focusing on the scale of the neighborhood and trying to recognize the small production cycles and maybe analyze the inward growth of redensification, and then maybe to translate this into the urban design projects. Adaptive landscape is the topic at UniRC, H2Scapes Prilep, which this studio will try to identify the fragile zones of the territory of Prilep in relation to the waterscapes that are intended as case studies. In parallel to this, yes, these topics were also developed not only, these topics are suggested not only as what we are working since now, but this is a kind of topics that are part of the portfolio of all of these universities, and we hope that you can use this past experience in your work and as a reference for your projects. In a form of a guest lecture, in a specific time, you will have the opportunity to learn more about the frame creation model, which will transmit to you by the Institute for Research Environment, Civil Engineering and Energy, IEG from Skopje. You will have the opportunity to learn the basic understandings of what the frame creation model is, and how you can implement it in your design solutions. And also you will have the opportunity to learn more about green buildings and smart technologies, which Nadache Partnerstvi from Brno will present you by their two crucial experiences and project regarding the open garden in Brno in the current situation of planning of the Brno city, which they are part of its crucial activities. All of these research activities and all of these planning activities we had in the previous year, we try to synthesize in our structure, in our syllabus structure, which is this slide. So we somehow have the same day of work. We have the same tempo of working, and in some crucial parts we will have a specific moment of exchange. These are these red parts in the structure of the syllabus, which are entitled as exchange, but also specifically entitled for each part separately. For example, the first exchange is expected to happen in the week 5. It's for 2 weeks from now. It was planned to be in a form of a study trip, and we feel really sorry that we can't meet together in Prilep. It will be a great opportunity for all of us and for the city itself. But we somehow transform this activity into a collaborative day, and you will get the specific guidance from each from the professors. So how this collaborative day will be performed virtually for now. Then from the week 7 to week 11, you will have these forms of guest lectures that Nadache Partnerstvi and IEG from Skopje will give you the input during your semestral work. And as a final exchange is the last final presentation and the last report of the work, semestral work, which will happen some days at the end of January and the beginning of February. After the semester work finish, we also have some activities we mentioned. It's the workshop, and as a form of a synthesis, making the synthesis and re-evaluation of the course studio production, which is planned to happen, if we have the possibility, and at May next year in Reggio Calabria. And then is the exchange number 5, which is the last point of the 2-year frame project, and it is the final conference and the exhibition as the final project report, happening planned to happen in August next year in Prilep. But outside from the project time frame of a 2-year, we do not see the conclusion of this project only as a part of a strategic document, but we strongly believe that this result will become in some form an advisory document in the preparation of further planning documentation for the city of Prilep, going from different hierarchies, for example, maybe from general urban plan or detailed urban plan, etc. And we strongly believe that this international consortium will continue to actively participate in all the existing and all the further future planning activities of the city. So somehow of a message of confidence is this message from the mayor of the city and from one of our last events happening there, where we presented our project findings in this first year, when he stated that in the frame of the project of Enable, the city of Prilep will get a strategic plan for long-term urban planning and sustainable development. I will now end with the presentation, and we'll continue with something which is which is more maybe also equally important for us now. And it's the moment of collaboration using the platforms we developed until now. The first one is the platform in a form of a site, which is available for you from this link. We are using the platforms on Google sites, so that's why we don't have specific domain, but we are using this site.google.com cross UACS edu mk cross enable. We think that this is not a problem because now we are kind of used to click on the sites and the links and not writing them. So you will have this link available for you, and you can use this platform without any problem. So this is a site where are written all the general project activities, the methodology, the timeline, and the project outcome, applications which are involved, and one first picture of us, which we hope that till the end of the project we will have a bigger picture together with you. Let's hope that it will be in the city of Prilep. So here you can find more about the project, but also more about the universities and the private scientific institutes. Then you can get to know with the news, the new activities of the project written on many various languages, but that's why it's interesting. And then, which is one kind of most important part for you, is the point of this international curricula, information about this international curricula, where in a form of overview you can read about the approach and the concept of this curriculum, but also you can find some specific information about each studio, which and about the topics of contribution. So if you go in the topics of contribution, you can read in more details about the frame creation model, which will be presented by Iege. You can find the names of the lectures. Then you can read more about the green buildings and smart technologies, find more about the lectures. And but here also we somehow see this point of which is entitled as a Google Drive, and some more folders that you can access from these platforms, that are also folders stored on the Google Drive. So this connection between this platform, this site, Google site, and the connection to our Google Drive is somehow you can go through it using this platform. For example, I will try to present from the topic of the School of Architecture and Design. So, for example, here we can read the title again. We can read more in detail about this topic. We can read about who are the teaching staff, and when we are, if we want to enter this content in our Google Drive, we can go on this point, and immediately we are all in a role of a viewer. So we cannot edit if we just if I'm visiting the other university Google Drive, I can only view without delete and without edit your materials. But each of the universities is having its own drive, and it's having an access opportunity to its drive. So you should be careful, because you can edit your content in your university drive. So in the pre-course material, we are having the document for the studio introduction, and in the course material, we are having the materials we are developing in our course work, in our course development. So because we are somehow a home institution, we developed our site visit. So, but also you could access to this folder, and you could see the the photo gallery from which the students from the School of Architecture and Design made for their use, but also it could be a photo gallery for your use, how you could go through it and somehow connect with the city. You could see maybe the map of how we organized and how we developed this, in which part of these photographs made, etc., without going in details. And then you could find the presentations we are the students presented and developed until now. I don't know. You could open them. You could go through them. And I would also like to, by time to time, to go through the presentation and the materials that are conducted on the other universities, just to be informed. So each of your university will give you an access to this Google Drive, and you could continue working your semester work in these points, in this storage space. Then I will continue with explaining this platform. This is a point where we are giving a short overview of the project case study, the city of Prilep, by one photo album, but and by this operative archive we already mentioned. But going through this operative archive will be part of the second session that Maxim will present to you. I will go in this point of stakeholders. Until now, we updated this list with the contacts, and we are constantly updating this list with the contact persons and institutions from Prilep that you could develop a connection with. For example, now as a contact person, we have the representative from the municipality of Prilep for the Department of Urban Planning, but further we will update this list with representatives from other institutions, local initiatives, organization, industry, etc. So during your semester, you will have the opportunity to contact them, to send them, to ask them some questions, etc. And as a contact options, we have our official email. You could use it always to ask questions regarding the project, but regarding your topic studio, you'll ask questions to your teaching staff. But if you have some questions regarding the general objectives of the project, you could also always ask us. And as other platforms for communication, but also for engagement, our individual and collective engagement are our profiles on Instagram and our Facebook group. So our Instagram profile is kind of we are using to kind of inform you or share our project findings. We try to use it as a board, board for sharing specific information of the research of the project. We are sharing information about the Prilep master plans, maybe interview conducted in Prilep also, some photo gallery, but also we shared and information about the city participants in this international city participants in this project, Vienna, Brno, and Reggio Calabria. So here we can find citizens' view on urban planning. Maybe some of these interviews get to you, but never mind. Here you can maybe see the results in a written form, or also see the results in more statistical way about how we redeveloped this information, see some crucial reference project we selected, and see some you can read some other information regarding the project of Enable.
Sorry, just to interrupt you for a second, because we have a limited time of 40 minutes, just to inform them that when the time will expire, I will immediately activate the other link. So I will not wait until 10 o'clock because of the continuity of the lecture that you're giving.
I think that we can continue in the same link because I get this message from the Zoom platform that this meeting has unlimited time. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, so now we already passed this 40 minutes, but if we are still on this link, maybe Maxim can continue after me.
Okay,
yes.
Sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's not a problem. Yeah, so I was telling you that on this profile, except the information for the project, will be shared information for the events. This is event from the last week where the core studio was presented at University, but also some photographs from Skopje, some from the events in Skopje, some photographs from the site visit in Prilep, and it's not just social media that we are going to share the photo of us, but we will try to share more the informational material regarding the project and the Facebook group, which we started a few days ago, and we invite you to be part of it because we needed some kind of link on Facebook for this project, and we made this in a form of a group. Also, this group will serve us as a platform for sharing the activities of the project, sharing some specific topics, maybe some photographs of site visits, or maybe some reference project during the semesters. So that's how we can together work on this specific issue using the platform that this project offer us. That's from me. I somehow went through a part which is kind of administrative part of the project, and I hope that you are now more familiar with what we went through, what we are expected to go to develop further, and I hope that you get the bigger picture of in which you belong to. Once again, I share my satisfaction that we have a big number of participants in this conversation, a big international group, and I will now give the opportunity to Maxim to present you this specific part of the previous research we conducted. If you have any questions now, maybe regarding the platforms, I can answer you. I can go through them again. Feel free to ask. Okay. If not, maybe Maxim, you can.
We continue. We don't do breaks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe it will be better like that to keep the continuity.
Okay. Should I share the website again, Pavel, you think, or you already explained the position of the Open Archive within the layout of the website?
Okay, once again, it's
maybe just for what is the next explanation or presentation. You can find what we are about to present now in on the website in case study, folder case study, operative archive. So you are able to sort of go through this fragmented folder structure, which copies the content that we have produced in a form of a publication or a booklet regarding this operative archive, as we named the next process somehow. Yes. So this is just informative, where you could find the next presentation, or it's just a brief overview of what is nearly 150 pages of materials that you can go through as a basis for you conducting your initiatives and ideas regarding your projects within your studio work. Okay. So make me a host, please.
Yeah, just a second, sorry.
It's okay. I made this option. You can now share.
Is this okay?
Yes, we can see the.
Okay. So as Pavel mentioned previously, there was a period of 2 years of really sort of creating a framework, and then really trying to create a basis for the research that will sort of occur in all the 3 higher education institutions as part of this consortium. And the beginning, or the starting point of this sort of basis for research was actually our sort of first steps within our observations of the city that sort of the School of Architecture and Design in Skopje had somehow as a task. So the first steps called Intellectual Output 1, creating database for transforming archive into operative knowledge, was actually such a step, or had somehow an overall goal of preparing an archive that will be the basis for possible spatial interventions that will be proposed, of course, in different formats, individually organized as semester works in the courses that will happen in the 3 higher education institutions that I already mentioned. So the main purpose of our presentation today is to somehow integrally demonstrate this data collection, compilation and comparisons we did for the city of Prilep, somehow to understand the historical and cultural context of the city, to set up what we saw as ambiguous relations in the context, and of course to offer new possibilities of what this archiving process means in general. Especially, and this was actually this at the beginning almost unsurmountable obstacle, contexts that have or that are somehow struggling in their approach towards really keeping their individual and collective memory. We began, of course, with a certain intuition or with a certain knowledge, because we have been somehow trained to look at the city through this kind of a historical prism. But as I mentioned previously, we encountered these local conditions, which are not easy. And this lack of preservation to be able to grasp this sort of spectrum, this complexity of the city. We somehow ventured in this creation of documentation for the city through what is its somehow real, natural, physical, built, cultural, and even mythological environments that we wanted to present to you. In order to retrieve this information, we really try to relive places and encounters through a series of interviews, discussions, readings, as well as through really a review, an overview of all the internet data with people whose lives and professional practices are somehow intertwined with the city of Prilep. The mental image of the people that we encountered or read in various documents were then inscribed into visual form, what we called cartographic exercises we performed in order really to revive certain topics that we really want to retrieve somehow, that we feel are lost in the process of time. This inscription, this cartographic exercises were named alternative histories or alternative stories, because we also saw this traces this information as stories, and explored the built environment of the city of Prilep, somehow its rural areas, industrial as well as natural landscapes. What is somehow a shared space for ideas and projects. These inscriptions that we will show in the next slides will try to understand somehow this relationship between these overlaying gestures and ideas and actions that enables the formation of a range of spatial interventions in the city. In the genesis of the project, archive, or in our case, we named it archive as operative knowledge, was somehow the primary and appropriate title that somehow represents this segment that gathers database for any future inquiry. This is for us very essential for such a multi-scale interdisciplinary consortium that is exploring somehow this natural and cultural environments of a city such as Prilep. So during the process, we somehow structured this operative archive into the following 4 chapters. This is the structure of the publication that you can find in the Google Drive. Chapter 1 is individual and collective memories, all the conversations, interviews, and readings we conducted. Chapter 2 is called Vague Archive. Chapter 3 is called Quick Portrait of the City. Chapter 4 is retrieving of topics, cartographic inscriptions, and documentations of samples. So that structure transmitted in a document gives this content that is nearly 150 pages, materials that will be updated during the duration of this project. Of course, this is just a sort of a basis, a starting point for a much larger content we believe will be available to all of us and to the city of Prilep at the end of this project in 2021. The proposed model of documentations of the built and the natural somehow totality was critically initiated with a field trip that we conducted with students last year, and was in fact established during the course of a variety of meetings and interviews which took place in collaboration with local partner institutions and individuals. And during and after this field trip, the information was transformed from in written materials, in transcripts, from which a process of this somehow compiling and selecting information followed. It represented somehow a process of reconstruction somehow of individual and collective memories that we saw as somehow lost in the history of the city, reconstructing these events from the past, and again trying to search from them from processes that follow or that are currently visible on the territory of the city. And for that purpose, we really took a record of these memories and traces, really took photos and inscribed this in a form of instructions and diagrams on maps in very different scales. And this way we could really interpret them again and somehow allow you for really production of new and surprising relationships of all these layers and elements that we will show you. This first, of course, chapter 1, these interviews, sort of the main protagonists among many interviews were, for example, this 4 interviews, architect Damian Dimeski, who is currently working in the Department of Urban Planning in the municipality, then architect Slavko Vrensovski, which is the founder of the Institute of Urbanism and Architecture in Prilep, and one of the main protagonists somehow of our previous discussions and the semester work that previously has been done with students. And he also appeared as guest lecturer critic of our work. Then architect Katica Taleska and Kira Nasteski, which are former chief architects of the municipality of Prilep. And of course, among many other interviews, I would like to emphasize the interview with artist Kirill Gegovsky, who is one of the most prominent figures of somehow the cultural scene of the city. Then, of course, done readings of, I would say, very limited amount of materials that the city has available. Among this, I would not go into the detail of the content of these readings. I would just really emphasize that the amount of archive materials that the city possesses regarding many of its processes, many of its histories, are somehow non-existent or forgotten. But among some, for example, this eco study of the Prilep environment was one of these books from which we really try to underline very specific vocabulary that was useful for us later in developing this cartographic exercises. Then the monography of the city of Prilep, which is this ambitious 1,000-year history of the city, and among many other readings, these studies, research papers, and management plans that are somehow also individual efforts of some of the scientific community of Prilep. Then, of course, chapter 2, called Vague Archive. The title is somehow a counterpoint to archive that we know that exists to preserve historical materials and to make them available for use. But as we mentioned in the introduction, reviewing accumulated archival documents in repositories that are somehow institutionalized was challenging, to say at least. Official histories of the city and somehow this principles of the emergence and of the city are completely deconstructed. They are lost, non-existent, or maybe exist in some individual somehow possessions. So we really relied more on somehow this intentional and accidental personal relations with people in Prilep as individual memories, and there's very much selective fragmented information they have regarding Prilep, mental, of course, and physical. Therefore, using these fragments of these individual stories of and also past documents, we recommend this to be read only as somehow a very open system, a rhizome of perception that allows for various entry points, but somehow resists this conclusive interpretation. So what we are showing today somehow is not recommended as a final act, but only as an entry point. Of course, during the process, we managed to, also in this individual contacts, we managed to find some, still some traces of archive materials that are mainly in individual possession, not institutionalized, as I mentioned before, as a repository of materials, but individual efforts to preserve some documents. And the following documents show somehow excerpts from these previous approaches and ideas about the city that have been identified and linked in the process of sort of these cartographic inscriptions we did. For example, the first regulation plan of the city of Prilep in 1949. Then 1969 is somehow this revision of this plan and this sort of basic ideas of this possible growth of the city. Then we collected some documentation of a very sort of formal administrative cadastral divisions of the city, starting from this plan from 1918, then 34, 57, 86, and of course documents such as this general urban plans, this recent history of the city, starting from the strategic 10-year documents, starting from 2001 to 2011, 2011-21, and 2013-23. Somehow. Of course, all of this, our starting point was this map. We sort of recreated this vector map of crucial aspects of the city of Prilep, somehow the natural sort of basis, the relief of the city, the built structure, as well as the cadastral maps as a basic map for all the cartographic exercises we performed. Chapter 3, of course, is this quick portrait of the city. Okay, this here is, I forgot to change this translation, but I will try to go through it. Sorry, I will try to go through it so everyone can understand. This quick portrait of the city shows this process from reading to drawing that follows somehow 4 essential themes that were identified on our site visit during the site trip that was documented through photographs, some hand drawings, and written materials. And these essential topics for us, again, sorry for this Macedonian translation, but our main topics, essential topics are nature, traces, and figures. Nature, of course, in relation to resource, trace in relation to somehow surface trace that are many times infrastructural traces as well, and figures in relation to the program that occurs inside, and of course this behavioral forms that are defining different build forms. Of course, a little bit explanation of this sort of 3 essential topics. For example, the traces, the system of the region somehow consists of layers of processes with various properties that somehow show behaviors and diversity of the territory regarding very different inscriptions on this relief map, processes that are essentially slow, sometimes are very fast. And literally when you go over with your hand on the surface of this city, you will sort of notice this difference in tactility and these traces inscribed as lines, dots, surfaces that are engraved in the ground. They somehow are reflections of the territory, the history that are told through these traces of both men or nature. These traces are also referential in organization, but according to very different logics of different periods, of different surroundings, of different intentions for the city. Sometimes we see these basics, these traces as overlapping, complementary elements that are sometimes creating new systems that could be useful for all of you for your future inquiries. then we also were observing this one family typologies as this prototypical environmental objects that address this somehow socioeconomic system, above all, somehow its potential to readapt and be reused always. As part of the survey, we also focused on the programmatic figures that respond adequately to the program as well as to the environment, somehow highlighting the processes of place, surface structure, ambient, and behavior. And of course, trying to look at very diverse and complex relations within the territory. Prilep, as you are about to read and somehow hope witness, is a city with agriculture, with industry, with peripheries, and many other processes that are expressed through very specific spatial expressions. For example, these relations of these photographs, the main resource and financial resource of the city, the quarry of marble, not only as a business, but also as these leftovers of the marble used as a new surfaces for the sidewalks of Prilep. So this materiality somehow very present, this resource is very present also during and while you walk in the city. Then this amazing landscape or dominant landscape around the city, for example, was the main theme of expression of artist Kirill Gegorsky, who for 30 years is drawing mainly the same sort of view from his window towards the Markovi Kuli. This is the main sort of topographic view or topographic speciality of the region, and of course the productive valley or the productive capacity of the Pelagonia Valley, where the city of Prilep is positioned in relation to the daily sort of use and consumption of the people. Of course, this followed by these hand drawings on site of these very specific relations. And from this process of cartographic inscriptions and the process of these documentations of the specific fragments, we really try to extract or retrieve. We want to call it retrieve because we think these themes are somehow lost, of 7 topics. These 7 topics are inherited adaptive capacities, natural systems, performative landscape, spaces of ambiguity, territorial institutions, typomorphological transformations, and welfare conditions. We feel that these are very specific topics for the city of Prilep. The method of research and inscription that have been applied in the cartographic materials really aim to make visible these processes of today's natural and constructed territories as a very complex socio-natural context of the city of Prilep. And the main purpose of this step really was to create, again, I would repeat myself, this subjective documentation. So these materials will only achieve its usable value only if it provides easy adaptation to the topics and the context to anyone such as yourselves in the future, as somehow future inquiries developing certain processes for the city of Prilep. So the topics and the fragments I will show you now briefly are not definitive, they are not suggestive, they just aim to show the layers, these complex layers and topics that define these themes in the most intense overlaps that we see as the utmost capacity of the city. I would just briefly go through this 7 crucial particular themes for the city of Prilep. The inherited adaptive capacity. So in a very particular moment of the city and its extension somehow to the Pelagonia Valley, we identified a strong overlap as well as somehow side-by-side positioning of diverse systems like massive capacities, industrial capacities, that have been somehow saturated by the contemporary context, new housing typologies that are intertwining living and production conditions, areable systems, vague parcels with uncertain future and infrastructure of different significance. And such complexity also has a very unknown relationship with the natural system. The natural system was, of course, inscribed in these cartographic exercises with its very different spatial patterns and arrangements of its elements. In a more focused way, we try to somehow superimpose the following elements. For example, sometimes you notice this orthogonal grid of the meliorative interventions, the hydrographic system with particular regulations of the riverbeds, especially in the urban areas, areas of planned high greenery, parallel systems of infrastructure and green corridors, city green spaces, which are currently some isolated islands, vague plots with their own, that represent somehow their own biotopes, that in certain situations overlap with plant and natural corridors, and so on and so forth. Then the topic of performative landscape. What we saw, of course, as visually and substantially unique landscape features that dominate the city. Natural systems that have been modified and accommodated to particular requirements in different sequences of development of the city. And this intensity is best shown in the northeast part of the city of Prilep, where these natural systems, for example, of the hydrographic elements, geographical properties of the landscape, soil quality, greenery is connected with a series of landscape interventions, cadastral divisions, regulations, some production facilities that have been installed there, as well as recreation infrastructure, as well as recreational areas. Spaces of ambiguity. We slowly somehow from this wider territory go in the city itself, apart from this, the figures and the infrastructure that consist the spaces of ambiguity, we call them. This unknown future, this many programs that could occur, are the selected islands that show relations through elements, also intangible elements such as landscape and program. Then the topic of territorial institutions, which is very particular again for the city of Prilep. Small institutions, but strong one with a larger influence in the territory. They control a larger territory because the territory, of course, as we mentioned before, with its strong history, represents this palimpsest of sort of cultural sedimentation from the Neolithic period. That has somehow influenced a particular relationship of Prilep's somehow scientific and cultural institutions I mentioned now. And this relationship of landscape and resource with the city and its practices are explicitly somehow shown in this cartographic exercise. For example, the Institute of Old Slavic Culture has this territory which is marked here as a protected cultural and natural area of valuable sort of traces and research. Then we identified several elements which should be analyzed either separately or in relation to each other. It's a research on the urban form. So we go really very much into the core of the city to understand this typomorphological transformations of the city. And this, of course, basic elements are, of course, plot, street, a constructed space or figure and open space as voids. And in a more focused representation, all of these elements are in a very exclusive relationship with some natural elements and systems. For example, this forgotten old river in Prilep called Dabnička river, which is somehow paved over, that existed before, but is paved over as a street now. And we really try to understand how this system of the river is now influencing these typomorphological transformations of the central area of the city. And of course, the last but not least topic, of course, these topics are, again, starting point, they could be additionally sort of developed, these welfare conditions, because this relationship with the environment, with the strong presence of nature and the landscape around the city and in the territory, we feel it's very important, of course, of this institutional and landscape capacities through which we define a system of welfare conditions. And this map really tries to show both these phenomenological aspects, sort of describing the sequential change of landscape, atmospheres, and materiality, as well as somehow the performative range of the city and its territory. Sorry if I was too long, but I think such an initial meeting deserves for an explanation of the materials that will be available for you for the duration of the project and afterwards, of course. And we really sincerely hope that this open rhizomatic system of materials could enable you somehow to use it and understand very diverse relationship between very different and complex layers that comprise the sort of the essence of the city of Prilep. If you have any questions, or if you want me to go back through some of these maps, or if you want to really view in detail some of these cartographic exercises, we could turn this into a conversation, of course. Okay. Anyway, I mean, it's of course an intensity of materials that need time to digest and to understand them. But we are, of course, very much available for all of you to really additionally explain parts of these documents. Of course, be involved in the process of really reviewing or overviewing these documents during the semester. Okay.
Maxim, Pavel, yeah, thank you very much for this detailed explanation of the whole initiative, and after all of the presentation of the all collected materials that are very helpful. First of all, for the students to start with the development of different concepts and strategies that are in relation to the city of Prilep. And I think that all the materials that you have conducted are from great importance to understand the city of Prilep, its morphology and its genesis, and also the historical development that is very important for the beginning of the project. a part of, let's say, this traditional and conventional materials that you have conducted. We also have the materials. We will have the materials that we have done with Andrei regarding the video. So I think that merging these two, let's say, materials from different nature are a solid base for good starting point. At this point, I will ask the students whether they have any questions. I will open the floor. I will give the word to the students. If they have any questions to pose. And this means that you have been perfectly clear to.
Yes, as you mentioned, I mean, I would just add to what you just said, especially regarding this effort that you initiated or somehow for complementing these materials with this footage or this documentary of sort of videos, documentation of the everyday or the current conditions of the city of Prilep, the textures, the atmospheres within the city, and so on. This sequences and these video materials will, of course, be crucial, unfortunately, in this time of crisis when students can't really travel. And I really sincerely hope these materials complemented also by this initiative for video footages to make the city or make the city closer to the students in terms of atmosphere, no? not just technical drawings, but really a sort of an ambient and atmosphere of very specific areas. So yes, it somehow really it gives a perfect addition to this intellectual output one.
Thank you. Well, if we don't have any questions from the students, I suppose that we can close the session. I would like to express my gratitude to Maxim, to you, and Pavel for holding this lecture. That was very important for as a starting point for the development of the projects. So once more, thank you very much being our guest.
Thank you. Yes, it's again a gratitude to be in your virtual environment. Again, sorry that we couldn't be there, of course, and in Vienna and in Reggio Calabria, and but anyway, I hope that this virtual environment is equally somehow important again for establishing this network and this relationship between ourselves for what is about to follow in the coming months.
Of course, since this will be the way how we will communicate and share our knowledge. So I think that I just hope that until September the COVID situation will be resolved and we'll manage to organize the final presentation in Reggio Calabria as it is scheduled. However, thank you very much, and wish you a good work to all of your students, and see you soon.
Yes, thanks again, and we talk very soon anyway.
Yes. To all of you.
To all of you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks also to the students that took part in this lecture.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, ciao, bye.
Ciao.